Then there was a discussion, Gandhi's discussion with all these prominent people like Brij Kishore, Rajendra Prasad, Maulana Mazul Haq and several other prominent lawyers, that what would happen if Gandhiji went behind the bars or any punishment is given to Gandhi. So they were just chalking out a plan. Why? The senior lawyer replied, they had come to advise and help him. If he went to jail, there would be nobody to advise and they would go home. In this is really shocking. But what about the injustice to the sharecroppers? Gandhi demanded. If you are ready, suppose I am behind the bars and if you are ready to go back to your place, then how about these sharecroppers? I am here for them also, especially for them, and you are saying that you would be back. This is not done, right? So Rajendra Prasad has recorded the upshot of their consultations, and they thought amongst themselves that Gandhi was totally a stranger. Now they realized that Gandhi, a stranger, a person from far off land, had come to Champaran to help these people, and they were localites and they were not ready to Gandhi. This was not good. So they accordingly went back to Gandhi and told that they were ready to follow him into jail, means court arrest, peaceful court arrest. Now they all agreed upon. So the battle of Champaran is won. In this way, Gandhi said, now this is the first step. When we have won, the battle of Champaran is already won. How? Because the lawyers themselves agreed to go with Gandhi to the jail. Earlier what they were doing, they were not at all cooperating with Indian peasants, but now they agreed. So in this way, he exclaimed. Then he took a piece of paper and divided the group into pairs and put down the order in which each man was supposed to court arrest. Means now Gandhi chalked out a plan. Accordingly, they all were supposed to give their peaceful court arrest from different places simultaneously, and this was arranged by Gandhi on a piece of paper. Several days later, Gandhi received a written communication from the magistrates informing him that the lieutenant governor of the province had ordered the case to be dropped. This is the real victory of that time. That lieutenant, that person himself said that according to him, that all cases on Gandhiji, all law cases on Gandhiji were proved null and void. Now Gandhi was free to go anywhere scot free, nothing to worry about, right? So Gandhi and the lawyers proceeded to conduct a far-flung inquiry into the grievances of the farmers. Now Gandhi had decided to go, means investigate what really happened with the sharecroppers. So they wanted to investigate the deposition by about 10,000 peasants, means 10,000 applications were there, means an application was there and duly it was signed, and 10,000 people were there who were victims, right? Documents were collected and the whole area throbbed with full of activities, right? Throbbed means full of activity with the investigators and the vehement protesters. They were very excited. Vehement means full of excitement of the landlords. In June, Gandhi was summoned to Sir Edward Gate, the lieutenant governor, and in the month of June, Gandhi was officially ordered to be present in the court. Now Gandhi had a prolonged, means protracted interviews with the lieutenant governor, who as a result appointed an official commission of inquiry into the Indigo sharecroppers. Means when these 10,000 petitions this lieutenant received, Edward Gate received, so it was decided to investigate, to put the investigation into effect, right? So from India as a representative, Mahatma Gandhi was the one and only person to be present in that very long discussion, means meeting in different parts took place. The commission consisted of landlords who were there in that meeting. From British people, the commission consisted of landlords, government officials, and from India only Gandhi was there, right? So Gandhi remained in Champaran. Earlier Gandhiji had no idea how long he would stay in Champaran, so he thought that only one day would be enough for them, means for all these Indian people and Gandhi. But later Gandhi's presence was required for more days, and in this way days, and in this way around 7 months there. 7 months were there and Gandhi had to remain over there, right. So, initial uninterrupted period of 7 months were there, then again for several shorter visits. Now, Gandhi had started making frequent visits to this place after 7 months, right. And in this way the official inquiry assembled a crushing mountain of evidence, and in this way when this British people came to know, British people means higher official, this General Gate, when he came to know that this and this was injustice had been done to the Indian sharecroppers, so it was agreed upon that whatever the amount as a refund had been given to these British people and landlords, that was to be refunded. Yes, it was decided. So, this was next victory of Indians over the British, right. By and by now Gandhi was getting victory after victory in a series, right dear students. So, when they saw this, they agreed in principle to make refunds. They had to agree, right, but how much? Now the confusion was how much is to be refunded. They thought that Gandhi would tell them to make the whole refund, so they were in tension, but Gandhiji told them that 50% would be enough. So, Gandhiji agreed on 50% of the refunds, whatever the amount they had got, so its 50% was to be refunded. So, they thought that something different, but Gandhi agreed upon 50% of the repayment, and in this way, but later Gandhi decided to take only 25%, not as a money, but Gandhi was of the opinion that ultimately British had to accept, had to admit their defeat at the hand of Gandhi as well as Indian sharecroppers. So, this settlement was adopted unanimously without any objection by the commission. Gandhi explained that the amount of the refund was less important. Gandhi said that this amount was not as important, but the thing is they had to surrender themselves, means these British people had to surrender, right. This was a sign of victory. So, in this way part of their prestige. Therefore, as far as the peasants were concerned, the planters means sharecroppers had behaved as lords above the law. Now, the peasants saw that he had rights and defenders. He learned courage, means these Indians had, especially Gandhi had learned courage, even justify Gandhi's position. Within a few years the British planters abandoned, they gave up their estates, and now the process had started for the British to leave this nation. It indicates which reverted to the presence at Indigo, sharecropping disappeared. So, this is the victory, right. Gandhi never contented himself, but it was Gandhi was not at all satisfied. What happened? Gandhi never contented himself with large political or economic solutions. He saw the cultural and social backwardness in the Champaran villages and wanted to do something about it immediately. What I told you in the beginning, two problems were there: poverty stricken and fear stricken. They were fearful, right. So, Gandhiji had made them courageous. Gandhiji had made them all go against the British system. So, this was the first victory. Now, one more objective for Gandhi was there, and that was to alleviate poverty, means to uplift the economic condition of the Indian sharecroppers. So, he decided to go to different villages along with his wife Kasturba, right. So, he appealed for the teachers. So, economic conditions, social conditions he wanted to uplift. So, in this way Gandhiji decided to set up some schools for education and sanitary condition and living standard, living style, everything had to be changed. He appealed Mahadev Desai and Narhari Parekh, two young men who had just joined Mahatma Gandhi as disciples. So, they were doing everything voluntarily, right. So, their wives were also accompanying them. Several more came from Bombay, means today's Mumbai, earlier it was known as Bombay, right, Pune, but earlier it was known as Pune and other distant parts of the land. Devdas Gandhi's youngest son was also there, and with full fervor along with his mom, he was along with his mother Kasturba. So they all were standing together in favor of Indians of that time, right. Mrs. Gandhi primary schools were opened in 6 villages. Kasturba taught the ashram rules on the personal cleanliness and community sanitation. Cleanliness is a must, she told, right. So health conditions were miserable. Gandhi got a doctor to volunteer his services for 6 months. 3 medicines were available. Indian people were not well, they were not good, means physically they were not good. So some basic medicines were thought upon. What they were? Castor oil, quinine and sulfur ointment, right. If abominable means abdomen problem was there, castor oil is there. Then quinine means malaria like fever like situation to handle with, quinine was there. Sulfur ointment means skin eruption and this kind of problems were there. So these 3 were basic medicines of the time. So dear students, keep it in your mind, this is very important, these 3, right, castor oil, quinine and sulfur ointment. So anybody who showed a coated tongue was given, means this is the description how to consume these medicines. These very important medicines were there, right. Gandhi noticed the filthy means very dirty. They were living in a dirty situation, dirty lifestyle was there. So filthy state of women's clothes. He asked Kasturba to talk to them about it, to Indian women. So Kasturba and some of her volunteers women, they all contacted these women one by one, and they knew what was their condition they were living in. One woman took Kasturba into a hut and said, "Look ma'am, look there is no box or cupboard here for clothes where to keep, and I am wearing one sari, I am wearing only one dress, and this is the one and only dress I have got. So how can I wash? Where should I keep other dresses? The sari I am wearing is the only one I have." During this long stay in Champaran, Gandhi kept a long distance watch on the ashram. Gandhi was not only staying in Champaran, but from there he was observing, he was watching all the activities of his ashram also. He was a multitasking person. Such is the personality Mahatma Gandhi, right. From there only, while being in Champaran only, Mahatma Gandhi was observing each and every activity taking place in his ashram, right. So through mails, through not emails, okay, means correspondence and telegrams were there. Once he wrote to the residents that it was time to fill in the old latrine trenches, means while sitting in Champaran only, Mahatma Gandhi said to one of the officials in his ashram that the old latrines had to be replaced with the new one, otherwise the old would start stinking, giving out bad smell, right. So dear students, the Champaran episode was a turning point in Gandhi's life, right. What I did, he explained, was a very ordinary thing. I did not do anything special, I did a very ordinary thing. What I just took out all Indians from their fear, I made them fearless. One, and I tried to do something to uplift their economic and social condition. They were living in a very deplorable condition, deplorable social as well as economic condition was there, and illiteracy was there. So Gandhi set up around 6 schools to remove this so called illiteracy at the time, you know. But Champaran did not begin as an act of defiance. This is not the matter of 1 day, 2 days, but around 7 consecutive months had been invested, right. So for 7 months investigation was there, and 7 months were there, Gandhi invested, and this result was there, right. It grew out of an attempt to alleviate, to remove the distress of large numbers of poor peasants, means poverty stricken they were. So they were to be improved, their condition was to be improved, and this was the typical Gandhian pattern. His politics were intertwined with the practical, means Gandhi did not believe in theory only, but he believed in practice also. So he joined practice and theory, and victory was theirs. This was the practical solution, right? In everything Gandhi did. Moreover, he tried to mold a new free Indian who could stand on his feet, on his own feet, and thus make India free. Gandhi wanted each and every Indian to stand free, to stand on his own feet, means to be liberal, to be independent, right? Early in the Champaran action, Charles Freer introduced the English pacifist, means this is the person he wanted to give help to Mahatma Gandhi Indians, and he offered his hand of help to Mahatma Gandhi in his mission, that I can give you this kind of help if you agree, right? So, but Mahatma Gandhi said sorry, very humbly. Mahatma Gandhi said, no, we are sorry to take your help because this is our matter, and ultimately you are also English. So, in future, suppose we seek your help and suppose we get independence, what would happen? In future, every time everybody will say that Indians got independence from the British with the help of a British. So, this Gandhi did not like at all. Gandhi wanted to say that whatever we are doing, we have to do on our own. So, sorry to say, we are not ready to seek your help in this way, but Gandhi was vehemently opposed. Gandhi strongly opposed it, and he said, right, he had read our minds correctly. Rajendra Prasad is saying now that Gandhi was the right person. He had really read the minds of all Indians, and thereafter he came upon this decision that whatever we are to win, that should be our pure Indian victory, not with the help of any other English person, right? So, self-reliance, these 3 points are very important. Self-reliance means trust on yourself, trust on whatever you have got, whatever the caliber you have got, right? Indian independence, first self-reliance, trust on yourself, then think of Indian independence means your country is to be free from the British, and help to sharecroppers were all bound together, means these were 3 missions of Gandhi. These are known as 3 Gandhian missions. First, he wanted to make all Indians self-dependent, means not dependent on the British, but self-dependent. They were to be, thereafter they all had to think of Indian independence, and Gandhi wanted to help these sharecroppers, and these 3 missions were connected with one another. And in this way, dear students, you might have got this chapter, right? This is a very easy chapter, and the main protagonist, who is the main protagonist of this chapter? And that is Gandhi, Gandhian era. That's why one of the great eras of Indian history, modern Indian history. So with this, see you some other day. Till then, have a nice time. Stay tuned, stay healthy, stay blessed. Thank you.